welcoming Mr. Cory Greenwood.
Thank you. Now, for those of you that don't know me, I know that I look like I'm 16 and it's kind of hard to take me seriously. I get told it all the time. I was actually at a school a couple months ago and there was a third grader in the hallway and doing whatever third graders do in the hallway in the middle of school. So I'm like, hey, what's up, buddy? What are you doing? He starts telling me kind of what he's doing. And I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. So what grade are you in? He's like, third. What grade are you in? I'm like, I'm graduated, dude. I don't go to school here. He's like, you're an adult. Like, yeah, I have a kindergartner. She's not much younger than you. As what? Like, she's my daughter, dude. Like, I'm an adult. Wasn't buying it. I'm like, okay, I cannot lose an argument to a third grader right now. So I'm like, okay, got it. How old's your mom? 26. Got him right here. I'm like, well, I'm 25, your mom's only 26. That's only a year difference. What's up now, boy? He's like, yeah, but she's an adult. Totally got schooled by a third grader. So the moral of that story is, don't argue with third graders, because you can't win. Parents, you know what I'm talking about. Well, anyways, seniors, class of 2017, congratulations. You made it. Some of you by the skin of your teeth, but hey, you're sitting in that seat, and that's what matters. So for tonight, I wanted to do something a little different. So if you don't mind, I'm going to sing you a song. I'm just kidding, that would be really weird. Really weird. Let me ask you this though. Brittany's like, oh my gosh. To be honest, ever since they asked me to speak out, I was hoping that Brittany wouldn't be valedictorian. Not rude, just because I knew she's a better speaker than me, and I didn't want her to show me up. But there she is. She actually told me that she's never got an A-, ever. Neither have I. Let me ask you this, guys. What do you think about, or daydream about, for that split second before fear and doubt kicks in and tells you you're not good enough, or that it'll never happen? If you disappeared off the face of this earth tomorrow, never to be seen again, how would you want to be remembered? You see, I know that every single one of you, whether you'll say it or not, wants to be somebody, wants to make someone proud, to accomplish big things, to win. But so many times we get caught up in all the wrong things, and it sabotages that. I was on a phone call with a guy named Nick Vujicic a while back. If you don't know who he was, he's the guy, you might see him on social media, he was born with no arms and no legs. Well, on that call, we were talking about how he overcame that to become a successful author and speaker and have over 9 million Facebook followers. I mean, come on. And on that call, he said something. He said, you know, the disabilities of having no arms and no legs were nothing compared to the fear of failure, the fear of future, and the fear of what other people would think of him. That's a big statement. But really, it's so true. For me, my entire teenage years was controlled by fear. Almost everything I did was through the lens of what somebody might think of me. I had two ways to deal with it. One was, I was so far out there, so bizarre, so crazy, so mean, so annoying, so fake. That way, if people didn't like me, that's okay. It wasn't the real me. The other one was that I tried to never put myself in a position that would make me vulnerable. So I didn't try in school, because if I didn't get the grade that I thought that I was capable of, at least I could say I didn't try. I skipped a lot of school. I barely graduated. That's actually why I do school assemblies now, to try and get my attendance record back up. But really, it came down to the night, sitting in those seats. I sat in those seats, and I was terrified. Behind the mask that I put on me to play it cool. You guys know that mask. We all put it on when we leave our houses. 2 weeks before graduation, I found out that I was going to be a dad. That, coupled with some health issues, graduation, the unknown, my whole world was in a whirlwind of anxiety and fear. I had no idea what I was going to do or how I was going to do it. I dropped out of college not once, but twice. Not because I didn't think it was important, but because I couldn't sit through a class without having a panic attack and feeling like I was going to die. So I quit. I used all that as an excuse and allowed myself to be controlled by my circumstances. And for the next few years, I didn't really put much effort into anything. But I knew that I was supposed to do so much more than just lay around and survive. You know that feeling every one of us knows when we're not actually doing what we're supposed to? That feeling you get? It ate at me night after night after night until I finally couldn't stand the thought of being a what if, shoulda, coulda, woulda type of person anymore. So I reached out to a mentor. I said, how do I get unstuck? He said, well, it's really quite simple. It's not easy, but it's simple. And he asked me those questions that I asked you a minute ago. What do you think about before fear sets in? Who do you want to be remembered for? He said, write that down. Keep it with you. And every time you make a decision, ask yourself, does your choice get you closer to or further away from what you wrote down? In that moment, I realized something. My entire life, I had been focusing on this bucket. The bucket of fear and doubt and decisions that got me further and further away from who I knew I could be. Here's the thing. I knew there was always another bucket. I knew I was supposed to do so much more. I knew I was supposed to help people, to make a difference. But I was confused, because if this really was what I was supposed to do, who I was supposed to be, why did all the opportunities keep passing me by? Why did it seem so far away? Well, here's the thing. Every day, you're given a pitcher of marbles just like this one. But they can't stay in that pitcher. You have to decide, which bucket you're going to put them in. There's 1,440 marbles here. Yes, I counted them. Why that number? If you look at a clock, can't really see one. That's okay, because I'm going to tell you. Every 60 seconds is a marble. You have 1,440 marbles in a day. Where are you going to put your marbles? Here's the thing. If you get to a point in your life, like I did, and you're wondering why opportunity isn't knocking, check your buckets. Where are you spending more time? Where are you putting more effort? Here's the thing though. Wherever you find yourself, there's always hope. You may feel like everything's a mess, like you've made too many mistakes, you're too far gone, but don't give up. Start building your door, one marble at a time. Now, whenever I think of the choice between what bucket we're going to live out of, fear or who we know we're supposed to be, I think of a woman named Vernice. Back in 1965, at 40 years old, she got pregnant. But she had heart issues, so her doctor said, there's a very strong chance that you won't live through the labor. So she highly recommended to terminate. But you see, Vernice's very first child died after 9 months. And in that moment, when that happened, she decided that her bucket, her purpose, was going to be her family. A big family, as many kids as she could have. So she decided to go through with the labor. She went all in. Threw that in because I had to tie into Brittany. And yes, she had the baby, a little baby girl. And she lived through the pregnancy and lived another 45 some years. And that little child grew up to have 5 kids of her own. And one of those kids is standing on the stage talking to you right now. You see, you might think it doesn't matter what bucket you live out of. You might think it only affects you. But if my grandma wouldn't have decided to live out of this bucket, to go all in for what she knew she was supposed to be, I wouldn't be here right now. The world needs you to live out of that bucket. And trust me, it's worth every second of it. You guys matter. You have what it takes. So go out and do it. Grand Medal Class of 2017. Rise up. Take that chance. Go on that adventure. Look fear in the eye and say, bring it on. Leave a legacy of hope and never say never.